Okay, let's begin like this. What is management? I think some of you are management teachers. Anyone? Any?
Management is the art of getting things done through others.
Oh, the art of getting things done, not doing.
Yes, sir. It's the art of getting things done.
Okay, it's the art of getting things done. Perhaps that includes doing things and getting things done. Okay, fine. That's great. Anybody else? Okay, I'll make it simpler for you. I'll make a yes no question. But does management also mean utilizing the resources in a productive way? Utilizing the human resources, physical resources, financial resources in a productive, profitable, rewarding, good, effective way? Does it mean that?
Yes, sir.
Good. Thank you so much. Thank you. What about the others? Do you think yes or no?
Yes, sir. It also means how efficiently we use
Great,
those
great, great,
resources.
great. Dev Samriddhi and others, thank you so much for giving me that good response. So I was trying to just demonstrate how I could manage a little space that I had left after I had put the picture there. On the left side, there was very little space for me. Instead of reducing the size of the picture, I thought, let me manage the space that was available. That was what I was trying to tell you. Maybe let's see what more can be done in terms of time when we discuss this. So before we begin, so let's just discuss these two or three things and then move on. What are your biggest time wasters? Just think, you need not answer me now. Just think, what are the few things that you are wasting time on every day? Maybe when you look back and consider how you spent your time yesterday, how you spent your time last month, last year, or since you were born, all these years of your life. Have you wasted time? In case you wasted, what did you waste on? That's one thing that you'd like to consider. The second thing that I'd like to think about is, what are you already doing to manage your time better? If you know that your time has not been spent very effectively, or if you think that there were some areas in which your time was not productively utilized and was wasted, so do you have a strategy now? Have you thought of a strategy to overcome that problem that you had and spend your time in future better? Then what could be you doing better? What could you be doing better? Is there a way that you can do better? Is there something that you can change in your attitude to time or in the way you've been using time so that you will be a better user of your time? And the last thing, what is one thing that you would like to do? Take from this presentation today. I would like you to leave the first three and reflect on them later or now, whatever. And the last one, I would like you to answer. If I give you the opportunity to, if I am going to tell you a lot of things today, maybe if there is one thing that you would like to benefit from it, if there is one important objective for my presentation, what would it be? What do you think? How do you think you are going to gain from this presentation? Anyone?
Sir, how to manage time and utilize things.
Thank you, Gopa. So, how to manage time, how to utilize time better. Thank you. One or two more answers, please. You can either speak or write in the chat box, whichever. Any other purpose for my presentation or anything else that you would like to carry home from this presentation? Any other benefit that you foresee from this, the next 1 hour, 1.5 hours? Nothing else? It's only right. I think we'll stop there and then I'll not force it too much. Maybe uh, everyone is trying to utilize their time better by not speaking. Fine, good. Okay. So, what we'll do is, all of you, please switch on your cameras for a minute. I have a small exercise for you. If you have your cameras on, you can switch them off later, but for 1 minute, you can switch on your cameras. Many others also are there. I see only one or two cameras on. Are the others not interested? Good. Okay, I think some perhaps are not presentable, or maybe they have some inconvenience. It's okay. Whoever has the camera on, and also the others, those who do not have cameras on, you do this. So please, when I say yes, when I say start, close your eyes for 1 minute, and when you think 1 minute is over, you open your eyes and just remain silent. Don't make any noise. Don't say anything. You just, I mean, you can show me your physical hand like this. That would be enough. When you think 1 minute is over, show me your hand and open your eyes. So your time starts now.
So 1 minute.
Yeah. Thank you. Maybe
1 minute, sir.
yeah, in case some of you still have your eyes closed, you can open them. I just would like to tell you one thing. So the first one who opened the eyes, as I can see in the camera, and also the one who made a little noise, was it was only 32 seconds when they said that it was 1 minute for them. And now, when I asked you to open your eyes in case you still have them closed, it is already 1.47 seconds, 1 minute 47 seconds, and still you have your eyes closed. So, from 32 seconds to 1 minute 47 seconds, people have different idea what 1 minute is. I think only maybe half of you were very close to maybe between 55 and 65 seconds. Perhaps you opened your eyes, and the rest of you were not very sure what 1 minute was. What do you learn from that? Is there a lesson there?
Everybody has different views.
Yeah, Madhavi, thank you very much. Everybody has a different view of time. Everybody estimates time differently. Everybody evaluates time differently. And many people do not exactly have, I mean, a very clear, rational, great idea about how much time is how much. So, I mean, 1 minute perhaps for some people is 40 seconds, and one maybe, of course, I asked you to close your eyes, I asked you to not look at your watch, I did not give you any tool to measure time. Maybe some of you perhaps were counting numbers in your mind, whatever you did, but you did not exactly have an idea of what 1 minute is. Now, if I do the same exercise with a lifetime, so if somebody on an average lives for 60, 70, 80, 90 years, whatever, so we, many of us, I mean, I'm not too much generalizing it, but a very large number of us do not know how much is a lifetime, how much is the time that we have, how much is 24 hours, how much is 1 year. So I mean, we are very uncertain about it. It depends on various factors, and we are not very sure how much time do we have, how much time that is, how, for instance, a 1 hour class is how long. So I mean, because there is a bell rung in the college or the university, perhaps we know, oh, it's time now, or because I have a wristwatch, I know that I must stop now, or because I've been a certain given time, I'm sitting in front of the laptop now, and the laptop tells me the time, I know the time, but otherwise, I cannot easily evaluate the length or the breadth or the depth of the immensity or the measure of time. So this is one important aspect that we must understand in case we need to measure our time better and then live our time better. So there is a short video here. How much or what happens in the entire world in that 60 seconds? This is a 1.5, 2 minutes video. The video is 2 minutes long, but it tells us what happens in 1 minute anywhere in the world. Please watch this video. And after you watch this video, I'm going to ask you one or two questions. The questions relate to any one thing that you remember out of this video. So there are lots of data. There's lots of data that's going to be shown here. And out of that, remember at least one thing and tell me after the video is shown. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Amazon founder Jeff Bezos will earn around $150,000 whether he's sleeping or awake. The average worker in one of Amazon's warehouses will rake in 25 cents, if working, of course. A factory garment worker in Bangladesh might get in the region of half a cent. Around 83,300 people in the world will have sex. All that getting it on will lead to about 258 births, 113 of them into poverty. 108 people will die, 2.2 from car accidents and 18 from starvation. 59 weddings will take place. The Facebook like button will be hit 28,166,700 times. There will be 3.8 million Google searches. More than 80,000 people will visit the website Pornhub, and almost 3 hours of content will be uploaded. 208,333 people will be in a Zoom meeting. 69,444 jobs will be applied for through LinkedIn. 404,444 hours of Netflix content will be streamed. In the US alone, 2 violent crimes will be committed, 3 burglaries, and about 18 thefts. In the entire world, about 144 people will move houses. 15,950 land animals will be killed to be eaten just in the US. If you include aquatic animals, it's 105,190 deaths. 950,186 pounds of trash will be thrown out in just the US. 1 million plastic bottles will be sold around the world. 1,800 stars will explode. 288,000 will be born. Your brain will process 600 million bits of visual information. If resting, your heart will pump 1.5 gallons of blood. The hair all over your body will grow a total 1.1 inches. You'll lose 30,000 to 50,000 skin cells.
Okay, now the turn is yours. Every one of you has the opportunity to just switch on your microphones and tell me one thing that you remember from the video.
158 births.
150 births in a minute in the world. Wow, good. Thank you, Gopal.
Brain can process 600 bits of information,
Wow.
visual.
Yes. Next. I think you saw lots of things. I can move on only when many of you participate. Otherwise, it will be just a
Sir,
one-sided.
113 born into poverty.
Yeah, very sad. Yes.
So 1.5 gallons of blood flow per minute.
Yes. Mm-hmm. How
So
many people?
50,000 weddings are happening in the US.
Yes. How many people die of starvation every minute? Maybe you did not watch that. Okay. I think there were lots of facts about the human body, about the hair, about the blood, about the brain functioning. Okay, I think many of you do not like to participate, or maybe you did not catch the facts despite the question that I began with. Anyway, it's okay. So we understand that 1 minute is very precious. That 1 minute is so very precious that lots of things, in fact, 1 second is enough for lots of things to happen. 1 millisecond is enough for something to happen. So time is precious. This is something that everybody understands. I mean, the whole world is changing, and then the world is moving, the earth is rotating, moving, and then at great, unimaginably huge, fast speed. Now, so how does it matter to us? I mean, I'm not very sure yet if you have understood the immensity of the hugeness, the magnitude that life is impinging on us. But let me just begin by telling you that time is of two kinds. One is called the clock time, and the other is called the real time. Clock time, I don't need to explain to you. Everybody knows. Clock time is what the clock tells us. The clock tells us that there are 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week, 365 days in a year, and so on and so forth. The clock tells us. And the clock time is the same for everybody. Today is 13th December for everybody. Depending on, of course, the part of the world where you are, maybe it's a few hours later or whatever, and then it is the same time. And 60 minutes is 60 minutes, anybody in the world. Even if you live in the polar region, 60 minutes is 60 minutes, right? The day and night might differ, but 60 minutes does not, the period of 60 minutes does not change. It's the same thing, right? So that is clock time. But real time is not that. Real time is what we achieve in the time that's available. It's a relative thing. Real time is what I can do in 60 minutes is different from what you can do. What I can achieve in 60 seconds is different from what you can achieve. How long somebody runs in 7 seconds, 10 seconds is different from how long I run in the same time. So maybe somebody, Usain Bolt, for instance, might run 100 meters in 9 seconds, and maybe I hardly run maybe 10 meters in that time that's available to. So what we achieve in the time that's available to us is a relative. Relative means it's not the same to everybody. Your way and my way are different. Your achievements and my achievements are different. Your management of time and my management of time are different. If I look back, what I achieved during the last 1 year is certainly different from what others of my age have achieved. Well, I mean, just because I talked about my age, I am 70 now. I retired from government service 12 years ago from Telangana. So at 70 years, as a retired person from government, so what I achieve is different certainly from. There are people who are achieving much more. There are people who may not be achieving as much as I am. So these are the two kinds of time, and remember them. We are not talking about the clock time today. This presentation is not about the clock time. This presentation is about the real time, how we can utilize our time in a most effective manner so that we can achieve more for our life. So typically people complain like this. Maybe I do it, you do it, everybody does it. I don't have enough time. Actually, I wanted to do so much. I wanted to achieve all this. I want to do 10 courses. I want to finish another PhD. I want to complete the syllabus. I want to do this, do that, etc., etc. But unfortunately, I don't have time. This is a complaint that many of us do. I want to see this, I want to go there, I want to achieve this, I want to win this, but I don't have enough time. A very typical complaint. Who complains this? Perhaps somebody who is not really capable of managing the available time in the best possible way. I wish I had more time. Oh, had it been a little longer, had I had more time for the examinations for 3 hours for everybody. But what one writes in that 3 hours is different. The real time is different. In 3 hours, somebody writes so much and then earns a distinction, and somebody else does not write much and does not even pass the examination. So the 3 hours remains the same. The examination duration is the same, that is clock time, but the real time is different. I wish I had more time. I actually wanted to finish this, but I could not. Oh, I'm juggling too many things. I'm not able to balance my time. I'm not able to utilize my time. I'm doing too many things at a time. I'm doing this. I need to do this. I need to take care of my family. I need to take care of my children. I need to take care of this, that, etc. That's why I'm not able to manage my time better. This is often another complaint by people. And my poor time management is affecting my life. Some people realize, oh, because I'm not able to manage my time well, it is affecting me. It is seriously impinging on my life, and I am not able to do whatever I want to do in the given time because I don't know how to manage my time. And if you are thinking on these lines, perhaps you are not extraordinary. You are like anybody. Everybody thinks like this. Then, why do we need to manage time? So, in case the previous slide has given you a hint of the problems that we have, or the conceptions that we have, or the misconceptions that we have, or if we have begun thinking on those lines, perhaps this slide is relevant to us. To make the most of the available time, we need to manage our time. To make the most of that first line is enough. I'm not going to read the others. Just let me tell you, let me explain to you the first one. Make the most of the available time. So I have 60 minutes, I have 24 hours, I have 365 days, and like others, I have the same clock time available to me. But what do I do to make the most of the time that's available to me? A 50 minutes class is a 50 minutes class for everybody. But in that 50 minutes, what can I do to make the most of it? A lifetime is a lifetime for everybody, but my lifetime, which is not different from others, if I look at the clock time, what can I do with that lifetime to achieve much more, to make the most of it? I've been given 90 minutes now, 75 minutes now, I think, or 90. I'm given 90 minutes now to do this class. In 90 minutes, what more can I achieve? How best can I utilize this time? So if I begin asking this question, I am thinking on lines of managing my time, time management. Okay, you can take 2 or 3 minutes and instead of writing, you can tell me a few things that you would like to do differently if if you know the art of managing your time. Suppose you learn the art of managing your time. What things would you do differently? So you are doing things a certain way, but is there a way better than that? Right? For instance, I'll tell you one simple example. I am going to the college by bus every day. If I take the metro, perhaps I'll save a little more time. This is a very crude example of what I expect from you, but give better examples of how you would like to do things differently to save time, more than saving time, to manage time better. Any answers? What will you do to use your time differently, to do things differently, to learn the art of managing your time better? Focus, self study, and less mobile use. Thank you, Vivekanand. Thank you. That's a good answer. Okay,
Sir, I would learn something new if
great.
I could manage time.
Great, great. Dev Samriddhi, thank you very much. So I would learn more things, new things, better things that are going to change my life, that are going to be helpful to me. Thank you. Anyone else?
So I can have a day like no screen day. So that no mobiles, no TV, nothing. So I'll get the time and I can utilize it for a better way.
So there
So
are a few
nowadays,
things.
nowadays we most of the time we waste in seeing this mobiles and TVs. So I'll make one day as a no screen day once in a week, so that
Thank
it
you
will
very much.
save my time.
Thank you. That's a lovely idea. So one day will be a no mobile day, or maybe a part of the day will be a no mobile time. From this time to this time, I'll not use mobile phone, etc. So this is a different way of doing things. Yeah, good, good. One more answer.
So I might draw or paint something if I get free time. Though I find out some time to do it, drawing, painting, or craft these things I really like.
Thank you, Gopa. So you are talking about your passion, or maybe you are talking about what you would love to do in during your free time. But look at it
Yes,
differently.
sir.
Suppose you paint now, and you want to paint tomorrow also. Is there something that you can do differently to save time, to manage time better? The same answer can be looked at it from a different point as well. So somebody said, I want to read more books. Okay, you are reading now, you are reading tomorrow. Or maybe you are not reading now, but you will read tomorrow. So that, I mean, that's not what I'm looking at. What I'm asking for is, suppose you know how to read a book today and you are going to read one more book tomorrow. Is there something that you can do to better utilize your time? For instance, simple, that take that example again. So suppose I know how to read a book and I want to read more books. So what is it that I need to do differently? I have to learn the art of speed reading, right?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
there are two kinds of reading. I think some other lesson, some other teacher might have told you there is something called horizontal reading and something called vertical reading. When you read horizontally, you read every word, every line, line by line, word by word, etc. But when you learn the art of vertical reading, you learn faster, you read faster, and you grasp faster. Many people mistake that fast reading does not give you in-depth information. No, it's like, for instance, when you read a novel, when you read a newspaper, when you read a magazine, you just skip through and still understand. A textbook, perhaps you read every word, but still, if you know the art of reading faster, the textbook also can be read faster. Anyway, again, let's not go too much into that. That's a different subject. So, a few things that you can do better, differently to manage your time is what I am asking you to think about. You can continue thinking about it later, right? Let's go on. Some tips that I'd like to give you today to manage your time better. The first thing is, suppose you have 100 things to do. You have made a list of things, a list of tasks that you have on hand. Suppose you have 100, a list of 100. What are a few things that you need not do? They are useless, they are non-productive, they are not very relevant to you, they'll not help you achieve your goals, they'll not help you achieve your long-term goals or short-term goals or whatever. They are actually some kind of a deterrent in the process, in the progress that you are trying to make. But if somebody talked already about then the unnecessary or unproductive use of the mobile phone. So if you know which mobile phone time that you are spending is unnecessary, mobile phone is extremely useful. It's a very, very, very highly productive tool. You must use the mobile phone. But if you know, if you can identify a few things that you can delete from that, a few things that you can stop doing on your mobile phone, perhaps that is deleting it. So, what are a few things that you can delete? So, look at your day, identify a few things that you can delete. This is step one of your ability to manage your time better. I think you've understood that. We'll come to some examples later. Right. The second thing. The second thing is there are a few things in your list of tasks that can be done later, that need not be done today, that can be done tomorrow, day after, a month later, or maybe 10 months later. So they are not urgent, they are not important, they are not useful, they are not productive, but they cannot be discarded also. They need to be done. So they cannot be completely done away with, but because they need to be done, so you will identify a proper time for them and you will postpone them to a later date. So identify this kind of task. This is the second thing that you do. And the third thing, somebody already talked about it in the beginning of the session today. Somebody said, getting things done. When I asked you to give them a definition for management, you said, management is the art of getting things done. That's what you said. So getting things done sometimes includes giving that responsibility of doing things to somebody else. So everything that I need to do, I need not do it myself. Everything that helps me progress in my life, I need not do myself. Everything that helps me achieve my goals need not be done by me. So if there are things, if I can identify things that I can share with others, I can delegate to others, I can give the responsibility to others, or and others can do perhaps as good as I can or better than I can, and they are more professional, they can help me doing that. So that is delegating. For instance, you may ask your mother to do something for you, or maybe at home, at the college, maybe somebody else in the department perhaps can help you, or maybe somebody else, a student sometimes can do a thing that you think can be delegated. So identify. Of course, delegation is a big task again, a big responsibility again, a big area of specialization again. How to delegate, whom to delegate, what not to delegate, what are a few things that cannot be delegated. That's a big subject again. But I mean, at a very preliminary level, at a very basic level, if you think that there are a few things that can be delegated to others, do that. And the last thing, of course, is doing things that you need to do. You have to do them. So these are your top priority. Identify those things that you must do yourself and perhaps right now. So you have a list of tasks out of which you identify, okay, these are the 10 things that must be done by me. And I need to give them time. I need to give them priority. I need to give them importance. Then once you decide this order of tasks, what can be deleted, what can be delegated, what can be discarded completely, what can be postponed, what needs to be done by you, then keep the things on the right side in your mind. Be punctual, be regular. Somebody already said focus. So, focusing on the thing that you are doing is a very important skill that we need to develop. If I know the art of focusing, I can get much more done from that time that's available to me. So, avoiding distractions. Then prioritizing is what we have seen on the left side. So doing away with things, discarding things, delaying things, that is prioritizing, right? And then knowing your deadline. So what is the deadline? So if something has to be done by tomorrow, if something needs to be done by day after, if something needs to be done by next month, so you must know it well and have a clock or an organizer or a reminder that helps you manage your time better and track your time, and also learn the art of saying no to things that are not relevant to you, and finally plan some buffer time in some extra comfort zone. We'll go into some of these tips in little more detail as we progress. So I don't know if you have seen this matrix. Uh, you might have used it also, or those who have listened to classes on time, presentations on time management might already be familiar with that. But let me present it from my point of view. So this is a four square matrix where you have not very urgent, not very important on one side, and not important on one side, and urgent and not urgent on the other side. So let's see what comes in each one of these four boxes. So let's first see the basic things that go into each one of these matrices. Let's start here. So anything that's not urgent, that need not be done now immediately, and that's not important to you, that's not going to help you achieve your goals at all. No way, your short term, long term goals, your objectives, your purpose in life. I mean, it's not achieved by any of these things. These are called trivia. You know the meaning of the word trivia? Trivia are irrelevant, useless things. So they are not urgent to you. If you don't do them now, you don't lose anything. They don't harm your life. And they are not urgent. They are not important. So this is trivia, right? So what are trivia? So trivia, some examples of trivia are given here, right? What are they? Anything that wastes your time, anything that does not productively, helpfully, positively, and effectively utilize your time, right? For example, chatting which is irrelevant. You talk to somebody and you have a certain purpose. You know what questions you're going to ask, you know what answers you're expecting to get, and then you have that list in your mind ready, and then you call somebody and make a half-minute call, 1 minute call, 2 minutes call, 1 hour call, whatever, and then only speak about that and put down the phone. But sometimes we don't do that. We chat with people about irrelevant, useless things. They don't, I mean, just because we have time, we talk about that. So if you're not a cricket player, for instance, talking about cricket is, I mean, it's a waste of time. If you're not a movie review writer and talking about a movie, perhaps is, I mean, just wasting of time, right? And chatting about, I mean, the things about other people, about some kind of politics, unless they are absolutely relevant to you, all these kinds of things are wasteful, and they're called trivia, right? And watching cricket, I wrote watching cricket from the perspective of somebody for whom cricket has nothing to do with life. For instance, if I'm a cricket photographer, right? If I watch cricket and if I learn something from that, it's meaningful. Suppose I want to improve my English language skills and I carefully listen to the commentary. I try to pick up at least five new words every time I watch some cricket, and I try to pick up a sentence. I try to pick up the pronunciation of a word. So I'm listening to the cricket commentary with a purpose. That's not wastage. That's not, I mean, irrelevant. That's good actually. If I'm planning to become a cricket player, and then if I watch how somebody is playing and how somebody is doing something with a bat, something with a bowling or whatever, maybe it's relevant. But quite a lot of us, maybe if I can put it in terms of numbers, maybe 90, 95, 99% of us watch just for nothing, except, I mean, following the score, except at the end, finding out who has won and who has lost. It has nothing to do with our lives. That's all irrelevant. So that's why such things are trivia. Trivia means irrelevant, useless things. And what should we do with them? We should, this bold letter. Bold, what do we do with that? Anyone? Can you read this?
Eliminate.
We must eliminate them. To eliminate means completely cut away, completely do away with. We are not going to do them from now onwards. So what is the first thing that I am going to do if I want to use time better, manage my time better? The first thing is identify the things that are trivia to me. My trivia may need not be your trivia. Somebody is watching cricket with a purpose. Somebody is sleeping for 6 hours, somebody is sleeping for 8 hours, somebody is sleeping for only 4 hours. But what is my best productive sleep time? How long do I need to sleep to be energetically and energetically engaged the next day? If I have to be completely active throughout the next day, how much time do I need to sleep? So if my body needs 6 hours of sleep, if I am sleeping for 6 hours, that is perfectly all right. I need not worry about others. But if I'm sleeping for 8 hours of 6 hours, though I need only 6 hours sleep, I think that needs to be eliminated. Watching movies, for instance, right? I already told you about chatting with people, for instance. Just wastefully loitering for some time, right? Sitting in front of your mobile screen and laptop screen, and then just browsing things that are not helpful to you. That is trivia. This is the first thing that we need to do to manage our time. The second thing is interruptions. So you are on some busy job, you actually are planning to do something, but something else happens and then you get interrupted by that. Sometimes you're not responsible, sometimes you are responsible for this. So, for instance, you are actually planning to go out and an unexpected friend comes. And unfortunately, you do not know the art of telling them, sorry, I'm going out now, let's meet some other time. You don't know. So you open the door again and then you invite them and then you sit with them. And is there a purpose? Perhaps no. He came without telling you, he came without taking your appointment, and he was some kind of an interruption, and you did not know how to avoid that, and that's why you suffer. So interruptions are bad. Interruptions are unimportant telephone calls, for instance. You're actually about to leave for the college and then suddenly a call comes, you sit back and you miss the bus. You have to go to the class, it's already time, the bell is rung and somebody suddenly stops you and then asks you about the previous day or something else that happened and you talk about that. That's an interruption. An interruption is an irrelevant, unproductive diversion of your attention to something that is not really relevant to you in the context of the work that you're doing. And what should we do such things?
Avoid.
We must avoid them. By all possible means, we must avoid them. We must learn the art of avoiding them. That is management. Management is learning the art of doing all these things. So if we need to effectively use the time that's available to us, we must know how to eliminate the trivia, how to avoid interruptions, and what to do with emergencies. There are the third category of things which are very urgent now and very important now. If I don't do this, I die. So important and urgent also. If I must do it this minute. Today is the last day. I must do it. Tomorrow is the examination. I must prepare for the examination today. If I don't prepare for the examination today, I fail tomorrow. So urgent they are and so important they are. So if I don't go to a doctor today, I'll die tomorrow. Because it's very important. My life, it relates to my health and my life and my future and my tomorrow. So urgent, right? And it's an emergency. I must apply the brake now. I'm going so fast, there is a speed breaker. Suddenly I see it. And because I've suddenly seen the speed breaker, I must apply the brakes. If I don't apply the brakes, I'll fall off. And I must, be alert. I must be attentive to it, and I must attend to this emergency instantly, immediately. What are the kind of things that are called emergencies? For instance, you need to pay a bill, right? You have received an electricity, a power bill, and then you need to pay it. And then today is the deadline. And because today is the deadline, you must pay it now. You must rush. You must stop all the other work. You must keep things aside, and then you must rush. And then you must make the payment. Otherwise, power will be disconnected tomorrow. Right? I told you about an examination that you are preparing for. You suddenly realize that the examination is tomorrow and you have hardly prepared for the examination. There are still 2 more chapters to do, and you keep awake tonight and then you read the whole night and then you prepare for that. That is an emergency. Right? And what are a few other things, like your health sometimes becomes an emergency. Yeah, the deadlines are an emergency. Any kind of deadline is emergency. Some kind of activities that you must do today are your emergencies. Or I think you might be wondering what's wrong in attending to these emergencies. See, the bill has become payable today and the deadline has approached today only because you allowed it to become an emergency. And the less the emergencies in your life, the happier you will be. So you must reduce your emergencies. Health always can be an emergency if you are not responsible for it. But sometimes, irrespective of, I'm sorry. Sorry. So irrespective of what you have done, irrespective of what you planned, there can be emergencies that you can. For instance, I was talking to you about applying your brakes in a car. When you are traveling by car and then when you need to apply the brakes, there are 2 possibilities. Why do you apply the brakes? One, you have not seen the speed breaker, which was not visible. There was a turning, and as soon as you took a turn, there was a speed breaker, and which you did not expect. That's okay. But sometimes somebody else comes wrong, and then you need to apply brakes. I'm not talking about the second kind. I'm talking about the another kind where the speed breaker was there. In case you really were alert, you could see it, but you are not alert. Sometimes you need to go to a doctor as an emergency, but again, there can be 2 different possibilities there. So you have an unexpected accident, right? And then you are bleeding. You need to go to doctor. That's an emergency that cannot be avoided. You did not foresee it. But the emergency itself could have been avoided if you're more careful while you are driving, while you are crossing the road. Or some other cold, cough, severe, whatever, you could have perhaps avoided if you had taken care. Anyone who wore a mask perhaps saved oneself from corona. People who were reckless, people who did not take enough preventive care, perhaps fell prey to it. So emergencies need to be reduced. The more care you take, the more planning you do, the more purposefully you live, the more objective oriented your life is, the less emergencies you get. So health is an emergency only if you have neglected it. I'm not talking about accidents. I'm talking about the usual, typical kind of things that happen to your health. So you fell prey to a certain disease only because you're not careful. If you had a good, healthy routine, if you ate carefully, if you did some exercise every day, perhaps many of these health emergencies would not have happened at all. Lifestyle emergency, lifestyle diseases, all these things could have been avoided if you knew how to. Right. Then coming to the last one. The last one is planning. So what are a few things that you need to plan about? You need to plan about the long-term goals of your life, your health, and the exercise that you every day. I just told you about that. Your job, your career, your profession. So you must have a long-term view of your long-term planning of your career. So okay, I think most of your lecturers, assistant professors, senior professors, whatever in your professions today. But you must have a long-term goal for your career. What is it that you want to become? You want to become a principal of a college? You want to become the vice chancellor of a university? You want to become the education minister of a certain state or nation or whatever? Or do you want to establish your own college? Do you want to set up a university? Do you want to become an online teacher? So what is it? I mean, if you know clearly, if you plan well, I mean, it's not an emergency because you know that you know you need to go there. It's, I mean, something like goal setting. So if your goal is clear in your mind, and if you're sure where you're going, if you know where you're going, and if you know at what speed do you need to go to reach there in time, I think your life is absolutely perfect. There are no emergencies. You know that the examination is 3 months away and you have 6 chapters to finish, and every month you need to do 3, 4, 5 chapters, and you have a plan. This week I will do this, next week I'll do this, next week I'll do this. That's a plan. So if you have that plan, where is the emergency? The emergency does not arise. You are absolutely ready. One day before the examination, you can go to a movie and you can relax, you can sleep in half an hour extra, and you can enjoy yourself. That's possible. So many people who have a great planning, some people call it vision. If you have a vision for your life, if you have a very clear idea of what you want to be, where you want to be, how you want to be a few years later or during your life, some people are very clear in their minds. When will they marry? When will they have the first child? When will they have the second child? What kind of education they would like to give themselves? What kind of schools they would like to send for their children? How much money do they need? What is the financial planning? All this is planning. 100% plans and 100% dreams may not go right, but if you have a plan, there is a possibility, a greater possibility of achieving that. And let me not go into goal setting and all that today, but let me tell you how to manage your time. So this is in green. I have put deliberately this block in green color, suggesting that all your attention must be on this square. So if you focus on these things, and if you focus on your planning, if you do these things in time, the other three do not arise at all. Something becomes an emergency only because you did not plan it. The electricity bill that you need to pay today actually had come to you 10 days before. And if you had paid it that day, if the deadline is today, does not mean that it needs to be paid today. It could have been paid yesterday, it could have been paid 10 days before, and it could have been paid as soon as the bill came. The examination is tomorrow. It does not mean that you have to prepare today. It meant that the examinations were known. Maybe if you have examinations in the month of March, 12 months before, you already know, and you already know how much you need to, how much time do you need to prepare what, and then what are the course materials, where are they available, how much effort do you need to put in. All this is planning. So if you focus on your planning, emergencies do not happen, and these things also can be taken care of. It's 11 o'clock. I have another half an hour to go. Let me stop for 1 or 2 minutes here. Do you have any questions at this point? Please feel free to ask me. I think this has been one-sided. I've been talking for a long time. Can anybody tell me what are your plans for 2024? Or maybe if that's very easy, 2030, 2050, when you are 70, after you have retired, do you have a plan for that? I don't hear anybody at all.
Yes, sir. We spend more time with family and do more research work.
Good, good. So if that is your plan, you must have an action plan along with that. So if you want to spend more time with your family, that's a great idea. That's a wonderful idea, actually. But how do you do that? So begin working at that. So you must strategically begin thinking the action steps. So I can spend more time with my family in 2024 if I avoid these trivia, if I can avoid these
Interruptions.
interruptions. One second. So I need to avoid them. I need to eliminate them. I need to reduce these things so that in 2024 I'll have half an hour extra every day with my son and daughter, with my husband, with my wife, with my family. So I can visit my parents two more times every month if I do this. So my plan. So because my goal, my plan is ready. My action is this. My action plan is this. Hope you understood.
Yes,
Gopa,
sir.
thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you,
Yes, sir.
Gopa.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Somebody else? Do you like to share your plans? Do you like to share the things that you would like to focus on? Do you like to avoid doing a few things that you are doing now? Indirectly, you answered that question earlier, but you can give me a more focused answer now. Unfortunately, I don't even know whether you're there or not in front of your systems.
Dear participants, if you have any question, you can ask.
It need not be a question. You can even give a comment. You can just share your experience, give your ideas, add to what I'm telling you.
The session is really valuable for all of us, sir. Thank you.
Good. May I request Divya to switch on your microphone? Divya, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Divya, if you're there, what are your plans for 2024?
Okay. I would definitely want to work on my PhD
Great,
thing more,
great.
and there
That's
are
wonderful.
some.
Thank you, Divya, for sharing that with us. So, suppose your PhD is here in the fourth block. Your PhD is you're planning 2024. I would like to spend at least 500 hours on working on my PhD. Suppose that's your goal, that's your plan, right?
Yes.
So, you need to begin focusing on that. So, how will you achieve that 500 hours? You have to take out from here, take out from here, take out from here. So a few things that you are doing which can be eliminated, you have to identify. How do I get this extra 500 hours? I have the same 365 days into 24 hours, no?
Yes.
The time is not elastic to me. So I need to use my real time. So I have to get out of this maybe 100 hours, another 100 hours from here, another 100 hours here. What are 100 things, that 100 hours that I'm spending time on trivia? So you have to identify that. So if I stop doing this, I get 1 hour saved is 1 hour gained.
Yes, sir.
So in any time that you spend less on trivia, less on interruptions, less on emergencies, is added to the time that you spend on planning. Planning can happen even when you just sit idle. So not idle, but when you sit down, when you sit and then when you think you're actually planning, that's very productive time. Not many of us, unfortunately, have that kind of time. Many of us think that, oh, sitting is wasting time. No, sitting and perhaps having a pen and paper on your hand and then writing it down and putting your thoughts on paper is a great way of multiplying the availability of time to you, because you begin with a plan. You have a very clear idea in your mind. Focus. Somebody said that. Somebody used that word in the morning. So focus is what is necessary. Focus on things that are important to you, relevant to you, helpful to you. Identify them, and they are your fourth block, and spend more time here by avoiding wasting time. You're spending, I don't know if I can use the word wasting time, but maybe these are less productive, are less relevant in the long run. In fact, if I may suggest to you, I think the deadliest thing that needs to be responded to is the third block. The worst thing, I think, even 1 and 2 perhaps are not as harmful as 3. 3 is really deadly. Most of us think that 3 is okay, 3 is good. No. See, emergencies occur, as I told you, only because, I mean, we did not know how to do things in the right way at the right time. If we can avoid. See, if for take one example, for instance, if I know how to take care of my health, there would not be many emergencies in life at all. If I had known what kind of food to eat, what kind of exercise I needed, what kind of healthy, good habits I needed, I would not become a diabetic today. I told you already, I'm 70. I've been a diabetic almost for a very long time, 4 decades. So when I was 30, I turned a diabetic. But before I turned a diabetic, perhaps I did not take care. I did not worry much about my health. Irrespective of the causes, I can tell you, oh, I became a diabetic because of my mother, because of my sister, because of this, because of that, because of my job, because of my tension. I can give you 100 reasons. Irrespective of the reasons, I am a diabetic today. Why? Because maybe the first 30 years of my life was not lived the way that I had to live. I did not take care. So my health became a casualty. So I am here. As far as my diabetes is concerned, I am here. It's an emergency. Every day I must take a drug. Every day I must do something. Every day I must do something. Otherwise, I'll die. Or maybe it will spread to some other organ. It will cause me much more harm. I give you two, I think, examples which should be enough to help you understand what emergencies are: your health, your examination, your long-term career goals, etc. So
Yes, sir.
look at these two things: upskilling and upgrading. Many of us, especially in the teaching community, I think I made a mention of it when I talked to you about the SWOT analysis the other day. We don't upskill ourselves unless it's forced on us. I asked you that question, I remember. So the government makes it compulsory for us to do a certain course, or maybe acquire a diploma, or going for upskilling for the purpose of earning the next increment. What is it to you? Is it a challenge to you? It's an opportunity to you? What is it to you? I asked that question that day. So now, if upskilling and upgrading are your plans, you don't wait for the government to give make it mandatory, right? So a diploma, or maybe some examination, or some test that the government is going to conduct, will become an emergency if you've neglected it. So constantly, a teacher is a lifelong student. So constantly update yourself, constantly upgrade yourself, constantly upskill yourself. Relationship building. So we are reminded of our friends only when we are in an emergency. So if you build friendships, we build bonds that are very strong, that are going to be long term. And if we help our friends today if they are in need, so automatically it will become a ready-made resource for us when we need it. That may not be from the time management perspective, but in life that will be great. So I mean, the success of in my future depends on the relationships that I've built. Okay, let's move on. Right. So now you have to tell me which block each one of these is going to go into. There are 4 blocks here. One is not urgent and not relevant, which we call trivia, and something that is urgent but not important, which we call it an interruption, and something that is urgent and important, which we call an emergency, and something that is I'm sorry, something that is not urgent but important. Not urgent now, but it's important today, tomorrow, every time, and which is planning and focus. So the first one, for instance, prepare for your tomorrow's class. Which block does that go? You have a class
Sir,
tomorrow?
urgent.
Great, great, great. You can call that numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 is trivia, 2 is interruptions, 3 is emergencies, 4 is planning. So the first one goes to
Planning,
tomorrow. The class is tomorrow, not long away.
emergency then.
Yeah, it is either an emergency, or if you think tomorrow is enough time, correct, planning. Good, very good. Right. So the second one, join a colleague for a casual lunch.
Trivia.
It is either trivia or an interruption. In case you have some other work, it can be correct. You're right. Collect 50 old postage stamps.
Trivia.
Certainly trivia, because philately is not your, perhaps not your serious priority, unless you are a philatelist and then you are collecting stamps and then You have made a name for that already, and then you have a huge, big plan in your mind to display your stamps on a huge exhibition that's going to happen next month. Till otherwise, it is trivia. Yes. Watch a new movie releasing tonight.
Planning.
Sorry?
Trivia.
Somebody else said something.
Planning, sir.
Is it planning? Tonight
So
you are going to see
for
a.
me, it's trivia.
Second one, sir.
Yeah,
Second, interruption.
either it's
Not
trivia or
important.
interruption. Certainly not planning. So,
Interruption.
so see, okay, you have a plan to see that movie, but why should a movie be seen the same night when it's released and it's a new movie? You don't even know whether it's good or bad, and then whether this film is going to be relevant to your long-term goals, short-term goals, or whatever. Seeing movies generally 99% of the time for entertainment, like watching cricket. So if it's only for entertainment, it need not be seen today. It can be seen when you're free. So it is certainly you should not make it an emergency. Some people fight for the ticket, go out of the way, they spend lots of money, they buy a ticket in black market, and then they see. I mean, I don't know uh, if some of you do this, but I had lots of friends like that. So they would die if they did not see a certain movie on the first day. Right. So visit an ailing friend in the ICU.
So emergency.
Good, very good, very good. It's an emergency. It's because he's already in an ICU. If the hospital allows you, you must see him today. And it's already late. And then if you don't go to him tomorrow, we don't know how his condition will be. Perhaps you need to go there and help his family. If allowed, you can visit him inside the ICU. Otherwise, you can go out and then talk to his family, etc. Right. Set a question paper for an exam next month.
So planning.
Very good. Thank you so much. Yeah. This is the kind of planning that you need to do. So the examination is a month away, but you can have the question paper ready today so that it will not become an emergency. If you wait for another 15 days, 20 days, 30 days, what happens? It becomes an emergency. That's planning. Very good. Thank you so much. The next one, buy a new dress for the college annual day.
That can also be a planning or trivia.
Yeah, it can be. It can be either because it depends. I have not told you when is the college day. Is it tomorrow or a month later? And the information is incomplete. That's why it can be anything depending upon. I mean, suppose you have an important responsibility on that day. It's important to you. If you're just going to attend your college day as any other teacher, as any other member of the staff, it may be trivia. Right. Read and forward all WhatsApp messages.
Trivia.
Certainly trivia. Certainly. You have no message. This is not your job. So you are not paid to forward the messages that you receive. You don't have any kind of responsibility to anybody else forwarding messages. So suppose there is a flood there and then you have some friends living in that area, you'd like to forward that message so that they'll take it. I mean, I'm not talking about that kind of situation. Some people have this silly habit of forwarding everything they get, whether it's a joke or a serious thing or a deep fake or irrelevant, good, bad, whatever. Sometimes they don't even check whether it's good or relevant or not. Sometimes they don't even check its authenticity. It has come from this side, it must go this side. Somebody has sent it to me, immediately it must be forwarded. So I think if you apply your mind for a few seconds, whether this message is going to be relevant to him or not. Should I forward it to him? Do I know for sure that it's true? Do I know for sure that it's useful? Do I know for sure that it's positive? Sometimes even good things need not be forwarded if they are not positive. It may be true, but it may not say. Suppose some 10 people died somewhere, and then if you send that information to me, I don't know if it's helpful to me in any way, right? So unless the 10 people who are going to die are related to me or within our known group, is it going to do me some good? Or is there a caution in that? Is there something specific that's relevant to me? Otherwise, what's the point in sending that? Some political leader talked about some other political leader, I forward that. Some celebrity said something and then I forward that. So this is certainly trivia. Please avoid that. So these are some things that come in the way of our managing time better. I think most of these things we've already discussed, but still for the sake of clarity, let me once again list them for you. So these are a few things that we can completely avoid because they are obstacles, they are interruptions, they are trivia of all three kinds. So they are either trivia or interruptions, or some of them can be emergencies. These must be done away with to better manage our time. So sometimes what do? We work without any clear objectives. We don't know why we are doing them. Why have you become a teacher? Some 20% of the teachers that I spoke to on this question, they do not know. Sir, I did not have any other job, or I did not get any other thing. I'm just here for a short while. I am here. I mean, they don't even tell me that I am here working for my livelihood, myself. Even if that clarity is there, perhaps it will be better. Some people do not have any clarity at all. Why they are doing the kind of things that they are doing. So clarity helps you focus more and achieve more from the time that's available to you. So distractions. Everything distracts them. They are driving and they are looking around. They are studying and watching the TV. They are invigilating. Oh, I've seen many invigilators. This looks like a joke to me, actually, but I think it's very serious. Real. So people, I mean, in the examination hall, they are supposed to be invigilating, and they're talking to each other. They are talking about the food they had. They're talking about a cinema they have seen. They are talking about all kinds of things. Not only not doing their job, but actually disturbing the students, distracting the students, writing the exam. So when I'm talking to somebody else, actually, maybe if the examination is going on very smoothly, perhaps I can stand in one place and I can just keep a watch on the students. I need not even move about unless somebody is asking for an additional sheet. Or maybe in extraordinarily good positive situations, I can read something. But talking to somebody, wasting my time, distracting, disturbing the students, etc., etc. An inability to say no. Some people or many people do not know how to say no. Whatever others say, they say yes. Please do this for me. Yes. Come with me. Yes. Let's go to a movie. Yes. Do this work for me. Yes. Right. So take care of my child. Yes. So naturally, because you are accepting everything. I mean, doing things for others is good, but you must know your own priorities. What are your priorities first? So whenever necessary, you must be capable of saying no to them. Right. So these are, I think you can read the others. Too many things at the same time. Some people accept too many responsibilities and try to do too many things. I mean, the human mind actually can pay attention to only one thing at a time. This has been established by research. So if you think that you can study and you can also watch TV or listen to music at the same time, you are greatly mistaken. Science has proved that. Right? So you can pay attention to only one thing at a time. Either listen to music or watch TV or read your book, newspaper, whatever. Do one thing at a time. That's always a great way of becoming more successful in life. Right. So overcome stress and fatigue, etc. These are all distractions and obstacles. Naturally, every one of them needs a solution, and solutions are already there in the names themselves. The obstacles offer you strategies to overcome them. If you look at the names carefully, for instance, if you are working without serious objectives, the solution is clear. You must work with objectives. So be very clear in your mind why you are doing something and where you want to go, where you want to be tomorrow, and how you can be tomorrow. What are the steps that you need to take? How to define the progress? How to evaluate the progress that you have made? So a strategy, dream, goal, an action plan, and frequent evaluation. All these things help you achieve much more in life, right? So if you don't have great, well set goals, that's all, right? Use the waiting time. So sometimes you need to wait for the bus, you need to wait for something to happen, you need to wait at the bus station, you need to wait for food in a hotel, right? Sometimes when you're alone, there are lots of kinds of free time. Maybe the next class, you do not have the next class, you have the next period, which is a leisure, and then you have that 50 minutes, which is not a waiting time, but that's a free time that you have. So all this time can be very productively utilized if you want to manage your time better. and celebrating success. So if I just told you an hour saved is an hour made extra, an hour created for you, because you're going to use that a little more productive tomorrow. So every time you save time, every time you eliminate a trivial or an interruptive useless thing, so you celebrate. Yes, I've done this. Yes, I'm ready with the question paper. Yes, I'm ready for tomorrow when I have to write the exam. The examination is on next Tuesday, but I'm already ready. If I, instead of the next Tuesday, the whole examination today, yes, I can pass the examination and I can score good marks. So if I've that kind of confidence, you can celebrate that because you have achieved that. Right? Always make it a way to make it a habit to use a calculator, use a organizer or a scheduler or a calendar. Luckily, in the olden days, there used to be what are called, printed calendars, schedulers. Um, you needed to write on them and then make marks. And luckily, today you have a lot of technology available to you. In fact, if you speak into your Google Assistant, the Google Assistant creates your calendar on its own. When you receive a mail, if you just click something, it automatically goes to your calendar, and then it also you can have notifications identified on that, so that you will be notified. Okay, this is time for you to do this. This is time for you to begin doing this. This is time for you to achieve this. So maybe there can be notifications like that. There can be all kinds of things. Technology makes it so easy for us today, right? So, use your phone. Some people buy very expensive phones. They don't use it for anything other than making calls. So the phone has a built-in calendar. Google has a built-in calendar. Microsoft has a built-in calendar. Whichever you are comfortable with, you can use, and then you can productively utilize that to manage your time better. Other things, etc. I'll skip here and then just watch this video, and then maybe we'll discuss for 1 or 2 minutes and stop there. Okay, what do you understand from this video?
Wow, sir, wonderful video. First, we need to fill up the important things, then the other stuff, then only it will fit. Means 24 hours will be enough for us to
Great.
complete all the tasks.
Thank you, Bhupa. Thank you so much. So if I go back to this slide, so your big rocks are here. Your big rocks are here. If you take care of these big rocks, all other things will automatically can go in. But suppose you get stuck here, you fill the jar with the gravel first, leaving alone your part. The big uh, rocks that you saw there are your health, or your career, or your skills, or your updates. So if you don't pay attention to them, the jar gets filled with these things. See, somebody talked about using the mobile phone in an unproductive way. If I've taken care of my exercise, if I've taken care of my food, if I've taken care of my family first, automatically I've only been left with a little time, which I don't mind using them on mobile phone, forwarding that useless message or whatever. That is trivial, but that comes last. But suppose right in the morning, the whole day, I keep spending this time, and at the end of the day, I worry, oh, I don't have any time left for exercise. I don't have any time left for my personal care. I don't have any time for my upskilling. I don't have any time for my family. Why has this happened? Because I've filled my time with those useless things. So thank you very much. I'll stop there. I have another 2-3 minutes left. In case you have any questions, you're most welcome to ask me, and I'll be very happy to try to answer them. And maybe we can take a break after that and reassemble at 11:45. Do you have any questions? Comments? Suggestions? Your own experiences?
So it was a wonderful session, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Madhavi.
Yes, a really wonderful session, and we learn a lot from this. We generally make to-do list for a day that we need to cover all the things. So, sir, you showed us that thing in a beautiful manner. So, sir, it will help us definitely, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Gopa.
So we make a plan. We make a plan in our mind, but we never execute that. But today, the way you have said, no, now we understood what we have to, which the things has to be prioritized first, then later. So
Correct. Thank
definitely
you,
it will help.
Madhavi. I think that's the right thing to begin with. So we need to identify not only just the list of tasks that we need to attend to, but how much priority each one of them gets, and then how are we going to go about them, and how each one of those tasks will help us reach our final goal, how to achieve our objectives. Remember that the 4 Ds that I gave you: what to delete, what to delay, what to delegate, and what to do. So I think that will help you a lot.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Uh, I really like the session a lot, and I just want to tell one saying that it said that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right?
Yeah. Thank you
So
very much, Divya.
exactly what we learned here.
Thank you, Divya. Thank you very much for saying that, putting that so very beautifully. So if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So you are writing your own failure on the board by not planning properly. Begin planning. Planning is the fourth block. You must always, now onwards, you must remember, is it taking me towards the fourth block? Everything that you do.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll break here. So we'll reassemble at 11. If we could begin.
Sir, your
Yes, sir.
screen is
We
visible.
are waiting.
Welcome back, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So, session one was about managing the time that's available to us. And in that context, I told you that management from this perspective, from the current perspective in this context, is the utilization of the available resources. I told you that the time available to us is limited, and that time can be utilized the way we want. And if we take care of a few things, and if we know how to manage the tasks, and how to discard and delay and do things the way we want to achieve our long-term goals, the same time that's available to everybody becomes our real time, and we can achieve much more. So that was managing time. Now we are looking at managing something else, managing the classroom. uh, if we apply the same definition here, so in a classroom management situation, in a classroom management, in a classroom situation, what are a few things we can manage?
So in classroom also time management is
Great,
important.
very good. Thank you so much. Wonderful. Thank you, Gopal. Time is one factor. Yes.
Sir, classroom management, in classroom management, there is a need for the student repo and we need that in classroom management we should convey lot. What we want to convey must be must be conveyed in a clear way so that student can gain more. So
Thank
one
you,
factor is
Vivekananda. So if I can put it in one word, what you said, so it's managing the student behavior. So student. This is student management or maybe behavior management. Fine, very good. Next.
And so also lesson plan.
Yeah, lesson plan, planning the lesson also is some kind of management. Yes, that's planning. Yes, planning is a part of management. And what else do we manage? Nothing else?
So
We
division of syllabus,
sorry, division
division
of
of syllabus, division
division,
of syllabus, division
division of,
of syllabus,
I can't hear the last word. Division of what?
syllabus,
Syllabus. Okay, 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 okay. Allocation of the syllabus, division of the
according to
syllabus.
months.
Correct, correct. You're right. You're right. That is called annual schedule, right? Annual plan, quarterly plan, monthly plan, every lesson plan,
Yes,
lesson
sir.
plan, all
Yes.
these things are planning the syllabus, curriculum design. Yeah, very good. Thank you so much. So I'm going to talk about a few things that you have already suggested, as well as a few other things that perhaps you've not thought of. So what are a few things that can be managed in the classroom situation is what we are going to talk about, right? So before we go on to what we can manage, can anybody tell me why should we manage a classroom? Where is the need for this? The classroom is there. The principal has asked me to go to the class. The principal has me to finish the syllabus in a certain period. And then I have the textbook ready, I have the syllabus ready, the examinations are already there. Everything is there already. Why should I manage it?
For smooth functioning of the classroom activity.
Thank you, Madhavi. Thank you very much. So, for the smooth flow of things that happen, a smooth flow is possible when we manage it. So, a smooth management, right? Good. Anything else?
And so also student can learn from this.
Yeah, to help students learn better. Great. Very good answer. I think I like it. So, to help students, because that's the purpose why we are there. So, in case the objective of a teacher's presence in the classroom is helping students understand better, so classroom management should help them understand it easier, better, faster.
Yes, sir.
So to reduce disruptions or bad behavior in
Yeah,
the
so
classroom.
that is student management. Yes, student behavior can be managed, and if student behavior is managed, so naturally there will be less interruptions, less conflict situations, there will be fewer problems in the class, and again a smooth functioning of the class is possible. Thank you very much, all of you. So here are, I mean, everything that you said is put in the form of one short answer to engage the students and to motivate the students. So everything that you do in the class to manage your class should finally help us achieve these two things. So are my students engaged in my class? For instance, today when I am doing this online class, so I asked you to switch on your cameras, you did not. I asked you to speak, you're not speaking. But still, what am I trying to do? I am trying to involve you by asking you a few questions, by waiting for some time, by giving a long pause at times, by continuously persuading you, continuously giving you further clues, doing something or the other. So if my students are not involved in the class, if they are not engaged in the class, half of the purpose is lost. If I just give a lecture for 1.5 hours and go away, perhaps, I mean, the expected outcome will be much less impressive. So I need to engage you. Today I'm paid here, I'm invited here, I'm involved here in this university program to engage you. Engage means to involve you in my lesson and also to motivate you to do things better. So that was why I did this work analysis. That's why I did the time management. That's why I'm doing this classroom management. Is to motivate you to become better teachers. So all of you have intentionally or intentionally, voluntarily or involuntarily, passionately or not so very passionately, have become teachers. Now that you are teachers, you need to do your job better. If you have to go to your class and then do whatever job has been assigned to you in a more effective manner, you need to have a few skills apart from the knowledge that you have. Knowledge is already there. You're all postgraduates, PhDs, whatever, and then you have enough knowledge which you are going to give back to your students, and then you are going to transfer that, right? Fill their minds with that knowledge. But there is a way of doing it more effectively. That's what we are trying to achieve. That's why. So my job today is to engage you and to motivate you, and the same is going to be the job of every teacher everywhere. And that's why we need better management skills. So, what are some teacher skills? What are some essential teacher skills? Every teacher must have these skills. Each one of them that you see on the screen is a set, not one skill, is a set. That's why they are all in plural. Skills, not one skill. So there are 5 sets of skills which I have identified. You can add to them, you can discard them, you can have your own priority, but I've just identified 5 sets of skills which every teacher needs. I'm not talking about management right now, but I'm just talking about what are the kinds of skills teachers need. May I request Veena Chiranjay, if she's there, I request her to read it aloud.
1 minute, now, sir. Essential teacher skills, pedagogical skill, technical skill, personal skill, social skill, and management skills.
Thank you very much, Veena. Thank you. There are 5 sets of skills I told you. The 5 are the first one is pedagogic skills. Some people call it pedagogic. Don't worry, pronunciation is okay. Pedagogic skills, pedagogy. Right. So, I mean, anything that helps you perform in the classroom as a teacher relating to your pedagogy or pedagogic skills. Technical skills, I don't need to explain to you. All of you must be very familiar with them already. Personal skills, your own personality, your own life skills, what kind of imprint you are leaving in the hearts and minds of your students are your personal skills. Social skills, how do you interact with each other? How do you interact with your students? How do you interact with your colleagues? How do you interact with higher ups, etc., parents, etc.? All those are social skills. So your affability, your sociability, your friendliness, the way you make yourself approachable to your students and others are your social skills. And finally, management. That's my focus today, management skills. So what management skills do teachers need to become better teachers and to help your students, like somebody answered in the beginning, to help my students understand the lesson better, to help my students become better, to help my students pass the examination, to help my students achieve more in their lives from what they learn here. So for achieving that, what managerial skills, what management skills do I need is going to be my focus today. The other 4 skills, of course, are absolutely essential, but they are not my focus today. They are not in the scope of my presentation today. I'm focusing on the last one. Maybe some of them each one of them is not exclusive in itself. They interact with each other, they intertwine with each other, they overlap each other. And that's why maybe sometimes when we talk about management skills, we also talk about personal skills, we also talk about social skills, but the basic focus is management skills, right? If you have your mobile phones with you, please open them. And if you have a QR code available there, please use your QR code reader to shoot this QR code, and it will give you a question and it will ask you to rank a few answers there. Multiple answers are possible. You can choose all of them in the order of your priority. And if you do not have a QR code reader on your phone, you can go to Menti, MENTI, and the Menti asks you for a PIN number. The PIN number is on the screen, 13818343. And once you have this PIN, the same question comes to you. You can answer the question. There are multiple answers there. Put them in your priority. If you're not able to do that, please let me know. Anyway, we'll analyze the results of these 10 people who have voted already. The others can continue doing that. The question is, rank the following in order of their importance to ensure effective classroom management. If I have to manage my class better, what are a few things that I can do? So most of you have considered good and clear instructions. I'm very happy. This is really very important. An ability to give good instructions is extremely important for managing a classroom successfully. The second most popular response from you is questions to engage the student. So classroom must be full of questions. The more the questions, the better. You have to not only ask questions, but you have to ensure that the students are participating in that, right? Then the third one is lectures. Oh, I'm not sure how lectures are going to be really very useful, but let's see that too. Then the other answers also. So there are various other answers also. Given the least productive management tool is strict rules, and this I like it. I like it very much. So rules do not strict rules. I mean strict rules, strict discipline do not really help manage the class better. Though in the world there were times when people thought that strict rules, strict discipline was essential. But I don't think no longer people believe in this, and no longer we have not really seen it effectively working in a real classroom situation. Discipline, in fact, many times is counterproductive. And the kind of discipline that we talk about, I mean, not the kind of good, positive discipline. Right. So anyway, these are the answers. I'm closing this part now. I'll stop this and I'll open my slideshow. Yeah. So I think you can see the slideshow again. Can you see my slideshow, please?
Yes, sir.
Good. So I asked you to rank a few things that make our classrooms more rewarding, more productive, more effective. And that's why you gave your opinions. Let me share during the rest of the class my own personal experiences, and then the advice that I would like to give you from my perspective. Perhaps it's not from the book, it's not from maybe the kind of things that I'm going to talk to you about are in books also, but they are not the same way that I look at them. These are all my personal experiences, my successful experiments in my classes when I taught and when I'm teaching them. Right. So let me begin by showing you a video. This is about 5 minutes long. After you see the video, you have to tell me there is a kind of a transformation that's happening in this class. You have to carefully watch this video and tell me how has this transformation become possible? What did this teacher do to ensure that transformation happening? There's a huge change that happens in the class from the beginning to the end. And one teacher is responsible for that. What does that teacher do? So look at it from the teacher's perspective. So what does this teacher do to bring about that huge transformation in the class? Are you ready to watch the video? This short video, I would like you to give lots of responses to this. I think you remember the question. The question is, how did this teacher bring about that transformation in the class? Before that, perhaps you can answer some factual questions. This is a new teacher, and what's her name? Sakshi. So she was taking her first class, and she introduced herself to the students, and then things happened. So now your comments, please.
So the video is really heart touching, and the students were most of the students were indisciplined. They are not listening to the new teacher. So she engaged all the students by knowing their interest. So even if they're indisciplined, all the students have their own interest, their expertise in their own fields. So she engaged the students in this way. They have to present the topic on which they are means interested, or they know the topic in a good way. So in this way, so she engaged the students, the class, whole class.
Okay. She engaged and motivated them, and that's how the transformation happened. There can be lots of other answers.
So instead of punishing the child as the first day of her class, it was very horrible for her to control it. Instead of punishing the child, what she did, she identified their interest in which the field they are, and she asked them to present it. and by which she made the student to involve in the classroom and to create, and by which the student created, I mean, they developed interest, and this is how she could make changes in her the whole classroom environment.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you, Madhavi. Next response, please.
Sir, here when we look at the movie, what we need to focus is the passion of the teacher. Students more than the student, the focus goes to the teacher who didn't give up. She didn't give up. She kept her motivation to herself that she has to bring the change among the students. So the main focus goes to the teacher, yeah, for her perseverance, for her patience, how to deal with the student.
Thank you, Georgina. Thank you very much. I think your answer is beautiful. So the teacher's passion made a huge difference, her involvement. Where were you in the morning session? This is the first time I'm hearing you, Georgina.
I was here in the session itself, sir.
Right, right. Next, please. Next response.
Sir, the first class of the ma'am was usually she came into the class and the class was so much horrible that everyone was throwing airplanes and they were fighting. One girl named Jara was being teased by the students, and she managed by her skills, teaching skills and personal skills, and she really wanted that the student must learn from her with effectiveness, and in this way she has managed the whole class.
Thank you, Vivek. Thank you very much. The future responses can relate to one second, please. I'm sorry for stopping you. The future responses can relate to some individual transformations that happened in the class, and how did the teacher play the role of a catalyst in that process. Yeah, somebody, Venkana, I think, tried to speak. Yeah.
Sir, yeah, teacher, like, she has gone by the like student choice.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Great.
way,
Yeah, she gave them what it's called empowerment. So this is called free choice. So I think that's a good observation, Venkana. Thank you very much. So the teacher, thrust the focus at the students and then gave them a lot of freedom, freedom of decision making, freedom of choice. I think that made a big difference. Thank you. Someone else?
So she also managed to include the silent one.
Yeah, great. Yeah, how did she do that, Dev Samriddhi?
She somehow made the class support her and motivate her into it.
How? Somehow means how? Somehow. You watched it. I like your response, but I would like you to, recollect what the teacher did in the class to involve that silent student.
She went and sat with the
So
student.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and showed, how, like, uh, I can say by imparting care for her probably, or just,
Yes.
bringing her into the group.
Beautiful. Thank you, Samriddhi. So she cared for her. Care is a beautiful word, a lovely word. So she cared for that student. She sat beside her and she took a piece of paper on which she had written something, and then she appreciated her. She gave one word of love, one word of appreciation, a small reward can bring about miracle, can make miracles happen in the class. Yeah, I think that's a good observation. Anybody else?
So I would like to add,
Uh-huh.
um, I think the teacher did not try to be commanding or controlling in the class,
Yes, very much.
and she encouraged the students to be themselves instead of trying to tame the students. She just encouraged them to transform their energy to do something they're good at.
Thank you, Divya. Thank you very much. That's a good answer again. So she did not force herself on them. She did not turn a dictator. She was not, immediately make them feel um, belittled in the class. And I think this was a wonderful strategy that the teacher played. Yes. Thank you, Divya. A few more responses. There were other students also. No, I think there was a student, for instance, who came in the beginning and then hit the other on the shoulder. The next day when he came, or after a few days when he came, he just gave a high five. So That kind of students. Quite a lot of instances you might have seen within that 5 minutes, if you carefully observed it. Students who fought each other became pairs, and they presented. One student at the beginning, when she said, "Okay," do you remember how did she address the class on the second day morning when she came? She called them by a name. Did you hear that? Was it audible? She called them class of rowdies. Good morning. So this was some kind of a challenge. So people, the students immediately started paying attention to her and said, "Oh, the teacher called us rowdies, and we have to show what we are capable of." I think she threw a challenge at them, and she knew that this challenge would bring about a transformation in them. And one student rose and asked, "Madam, anything?" And what did the teacher say?
Yes, anything.
Anything, but she added a rider. She added a condition. Anything. Yes, anything, but there is only one condition in this class, she said. Not sure? That's very important. Would you like to hear that again? Maybe I don't know if I can play that once again for you.
Good morning, class of rowdies. You do know that's the name the rest of the school has given you, right? This time, I will not lead the class. You will. Every day, two students will come here and present anything that they are passionate about. There is only one rule. You must show respect.
So what's the rule?
You must show respect.
You must show respect to each other. You must be respectful. Respect is not the kind of respect that we expect in the classroom in our situations. Respect is something, treating everybody as equal, accepting others' points of view, and then believing that there can be a huge diversity, vastness of variety, and everybody can have a difference of opinion. This is respect. So she expected, that's the only condition she put. Zara is a zombie was the first thing that was said. No, so not that kind of things. Yeah, coming to Zara herself, did you hear that poem that she read out in the end? Do you remember any lines from that? Any one line at least?
She was
She
appreciating
thanked
the
the
teacher.
teacher.
Sorry?
She thanked the teacher for standing by her side.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Do you remember any one of those lines?
She said everyone wants to be heard, something like that.
Right. Let's hear that poem. That's beautiful, actually. Let me try to play that last part again.
Teacher for standing here.
About the other teachers. The teachers in the beginning laughed at her. She said, "Oh, how did your class go?" And then, they made fun of her. But the next day, when they watched the class from outside and realized that some huge transformation had happened there inside, so they came and asked, "What did you do to bring about this change?" And did you hear the answer that she gave, Sakshi? She gave a beautiful answer. Want to hear that?
Can I ask you something? Your class of rowdies has really changed. How did you manage it?
I haven't done anything. I just created a space where no one is judging them.
So what did she do? What did Sakshi do?
She just gave them their space.
That's all. She gave them
Without
a
judging
space
them.
there without judging them. So she knew that everybody had potential. Every student was good. Everybody had the necessary potential, perhaps in different ways. A class is always a diverse group of people. No, everybody may not excel in everything. That if a teacher realizes that, I think miracles are possible. So if you think that everybody must scale up a tree, everybody must swim in the ocean, everybody must do this, everybody must do that, I think you are greatly disappointed and you are also disappointing the students. But if you know that everybody is talented differently and everybody has a different potential, I think you are very close to helping them achieving big things in life. Okay, so I did not do anything. I just created a space where nobody is judging them. See, the one of the greatest um, failures of the modern education system is the way we evaluate them. Somebody passes the examination, somebody fails the examination. The one who passes perhaps is good in something, and the one who has failed perhaps is good in something else. But we don't recognize that, right? Let me, because I think we have spent a lot of time on this. Let me just come to the end of this. Let me read the first few lines of this poem.
Every rowdy class has a voice, waiting to be heard, wanting to be understood.
So every student, every rowdy, what's it? What does she say?
As a voice.
Wanted to be.
Class of rowdies.
It's a class of rowdies, it's okay, but every rowdy needs something. What's that?
Wanted to be listened.
He needs to be heard. Every student needs to be heard, needs to be understood. If somebody is misbehaving, the teacher generally does not know why he is misbehaving. What is the background to that? What is it that the student is troubled with? In case we try to delve a little deeper, spend a little time trying to understand what these students are feeling in their minds, in their hearts, and what's their background, what has happened to them, why they are. I mean, I think you will find lots of good answers that will help you make your class better. Don't tell me, sir, I don't have any time. I have the pressure of syllabus and all this. I'm not asking you to do it every day. I'm asking you to just spend a few seconds of your time every day to understand the students, to feel them involved, to feel them, to help them feel engaged. The moment the student realizes that here is a teacher, so you use the word care. Somebody used Divya, I think. You use the word care. So the moment you realize that your teacher cares for you, has a concern for you, has real passion, and automatically the class changes into something else. See, the beautiful transformation has become possible because of a teacher. What other teachers were not able to achieve, what this teacher herself perhaps did not think was possible in the beginning, has become possible. I think the transformation that happened in Zara is one example, but the transformation happened in every student in the class. Right. This is based on a real story. This video is based on a real story, and it is available to you on YouTube. You can watch it again in case you want. Okay, right. So I told you that I'll look at the whole thing from my point of view. I'm going to talk to you about some of my personal experiences so that you will understand what classroom management is for me. So I have identified these 6 things that will make classrooms much more productive and much better managed. Uh, Vivek, will you please read them? Vivekanand?
Yes, sir. Classroom management, physical setting, collaboration, effective instructions, questions, response, eliciting, projects, games, activities, technology, and self-management.
So these are the 6 things I personally tried successfully, and these 6 things help manage my classes much better. So I worked in government for about 36 years. I became a lecturer at 22. I started teaching when I was 22, and I taught till I was 58. So I retired some 13 years ago, and I continue to teach teachers now. Some teacher training workshops I do, but most of my career as a teacher, I mean, at least the second major part of my career as a teacher was quite successful because I followed some of these things that I'm showing you on the screen. The first thing is the physical setting. So every teacher has this responsibility of managing the infrastructure that's available to the teacher. Some teachers do not know how to use the infrastructure. They don't know how to use the chairs, the tables, the fans, the windows, the tape, the main door, the whatever, the board, blackboard, whatever. They are there. They always complain about what's not there. I see a huge number of teachers. My college does not have a projector. My college does not have a good quality white digital board. My college does not have enough furniture. My classroom does not have a fan. My classroom does not. So, I mean, we complain about 100 things that we do not have. Yes, they are serious complaints. They are reliable, authentic, accurate, real complaints. I know them. But I'm talking to you today about something else. I'm talking to you about how can you utilize the resources that are available to you in a productive way. Right? There is no fan, okay, but there is a chair. There is no chair, okay, there is a table, there is a bench. There is no air conditioner, but there is a fan. Right? Whatever is there, how do you use that? Do you know, or have you ever tried organizing your class slightly differently so that it becomes more productive? How much space do you have in your class to move about? Do you move about at all? In case you do not move about, have you ever checked, have you looked at yourself and why you are a station? Does anybody like a teacher who is a stationary all the time in the class? Do you like your teachers who they remain in one place and teach the whole class?
No, sir.
No, nobody likes it. I think the teachers must be energetic. The teachers must be moving about. They must be dynamic. They must. I mean, every student must feel involved. That's possible only with the teacher. See, where did this teacher go? The Sakshi went and sat with what she thought was, I mean, a very quiet introvert. Maybe for till she met her, she did not even know if she had any talent at all. Maybe people called her a zombie. And she went and sat with that student. Maybe there were places other where also, or she could have reorganized, but she knew that this was one place where she was needed. Her presence beside that Zara made a huge difference to her. So, do we know where we stand? How do we stand? How long do we stand? Where do we move? Why do we move? How deep do we go into the class? How much time do we speak where? Or are we so very connected to the blackboard or whiteboard or whatever that all the time 50 minutes we spend there only? If we are there, is there a reason for that? So these things, if we understand, we can manage our class better. The physical setting. The pictures that you see here all are my own photographs in the last 6 months or 7 months, 8 months, whatever, in the last 1 year. I'm sorry. So all these pictures, I mean, some of them were for teachers, some of them, one or two of them for students. So when I went there, I'll show you just one photograph. There is this photograph and this photograph are the same students. So when I went there to this class, this was in a college, and I went there. This was a teacher training program. So I went there, and all of them they had single chairs, and then they all were seated in a crowd-like thing. And then the first thing that I did, as soon as I went there, I said, okay, please create an aisle in the middle. I don't want you to sit like this. Please create an aisle. So some of you move to the left, some of you move to the right, so that I can move in between. The moment I made a passage for myself and started moving inside, my control over the class, my reach to my students, and their engagement in the class multiplied many times. Today, though you did not respond to my request, I requested you to switch on your cameras, which will help me. I am taking your names, I am just reading your names on the screen, and then whenever you are giving your answers, I am calling you by names and I am complimenting them. So these are a few small things that we can do to make our classes more interactive. Isn't it? So, so if my students sit in a way which is very inconvenient for me to move about, I mean, I can look at the wall. Where are the windows? Where are the doors? Where are the chairs? Where are the tables? How better they can sit down so that if I want to organize an activity, for instance, does it suit it? Small changes can make a huge difference. I'll narrate one experience to you. After I retired from service in 2012, the government asked me to do a training program for the college English lecturers live on TV. It was a live program, It was telecast to the whole state, all colleges connected by television in Telangana. Those days, I'm talking about 12, 13 years ago. So I was asked to do a class. So, I mean, I don't know. Typically the classroom in the studio was like this. So I had to sit down at a table, and then the cameras would be focused on me. I would deliver because this was a live class. So all the students would sit in front of me, and I had to deliver the class. The moment I went there, the commissioner was sitting inside the class, and then he was watching it. I told the technicians, I requested the technicians to make small adjustments to the class. I said, no, no, because the entire focus, all the 3 hours was on me, and the students were facing me. That's why the faces of the students could not be shown in the cameras. I said, no, I don't want my class like this. I want all of them to be moved to a corner so that I'll stand on one side of the room and my students will be on one side. And while you are focusing on my face, you can also show the students and you can see their feelings, their reactions, their participation, etc. So in the beginning, they were reluctant. The technician said, "No, sir, this is a problem, that problem, etc." But finally, when I convinced them, they helped me, and this is how my class looked later. I think it was one of the best TV lessons that ever I did. So I think small changes like this. Why I'm telling you, I'm not trying to boast of my achievements, but I'm just trying to tell you. You also, when you go to the class tomorrow, just consider within your mind, can I make any changes to my classes, my classroom? Is there a better physical setup possible? Can I ask my students to move this side, that side, whatever, within the possible physical infrastructure and scope? And can my class benefit from that? Or is it already good? Just don't do it for the sake of doing it. If you think that a change in setup will help you, and it will not seriously disturb the general setup of the college, try doing it. Sometimes take the students outside. If it's a not very, very large class, or if your college has a huge campus, if I'm telling you, if instead of, sir, my college does not have this, okay. My college does not have a digital board, okay, but do you know how to use that blackboard? I think maybe 80-90% of the teachers do not know how to use the blackboard. They don't know where to write, what size to write, what color to use, and when to erase, what to keep. I mean, the blackboard that itself is a management. That itself is blackboard management. If you know how to manage it, I also know some 4-5% of the teachers who are extremely good users of the board. They use it so well that if it leaves a visual imprint on your mind. If you just see the way the board is used, then the student, even without reading the textbook, can pass the examination. So good they are. So we all can try that. If we make an effort, all of us can succeed. Right. So this was the first point that I wanted to make. Right. Do you have any questions at that point of time? Do you have any questions, please? Okay. So the second, the second effort that I made in my classes, and also you can also try in your classes, perhaps many of you are already doing this, is to allow a lot of collaboration in your class. Collaboration can happen when students work together. It can be pair work when two students work together, with each other, and it can be group work, it can be triads, it can be a project where students work together on a common assignment. It can be many different kinds of setup. So whichever setup you use, in fact, you can use all of them every day, or as long or as frequently as possible. So when students interact with each other, there is not just the lesson being taught, there are lots of life skills taught together. So they know how to work along with each other. They generate their own ideas. They contribute to the class. A lot of brainstorm happens, and lots of other advantages. Not just delivering the lecture alone. Your effort may increase. Your effort may need to be much more. But still, I mean, the effort put in has its own rich dividends, rich rewards. So whenever possible, whenever convenient, whenever there is a scope, whenever the lesson lends itself to this possibility, have collaborative efforts created in the class. So ask students to talk to one. Don't think, I mean, the class, see, even in that video that we saw, there were quite a lot of lessons that were presented by pairs. Two students coming together and making a presentation. The teachers did not say no, do it alone, no. So if students have to work together, I think it will be wonderful. And in the beginning, maybe when you try things like this, perhaps there'll be a little noise, there'll be a little chaos, there'll be a little confusion. Even the next teacher in the next room may object if it becomes too very noisy. But once the students understand, once you know how to organize this kind of things, and once you develop some kind of mastery over organizing this kind of activities, I think your classes will be much more productive. Does somebody have a question? I hear some noise there. Somebody switched on the camera, I think. No? Okay, good. That was perhaps by chance. Do you have a question, Vivekanand?
No, sir.
Process of lead.
Sorry? I could not hear you.
No, sir.
Yeah, good. Okay, let's move on. So the third thing that I told you, you also made a mention of this. And when I conducted that poll, no, I think you gave a high priority to this. I think most of you voted in favor of this. Good, clear, simple instructions are absolutely extremely relevant to making a class managed well. If you want to manage your class better, you must become an expert giver of instructions. You must watch your own. I know lots of good teachers who practice their instructions, who write them down. I had one teacher, I think you saw him in one of my previous slides. This was my teacher, George Bishop, who taught me some of these techniques. And then he was an English language fellow who had come from America. And I think I owe a lot to him. Right. So, so people like him write down their instructions. So they practice them at home. So how should I frame my sentences? How can I make them simpler? How can I ensure that my instructions reach my students the right way? How can I avoid misinterpretation, misunderstanding of my instructions? How can I make them simpler, shorter, better? So if I have this idea, if I make my instructions easier for my students to understand, I think the outcomes will be much more rewarding. Right? So instructions, can some of you tell me how should instructions be? They should be
Clear.
clear, very good. They should be clear.
Goal oriented.
They should be task oriented, task specific.
Simple to understand.
They should be simple to understand. Yes.
Specific.
Very specific, extremely specific. Good. Thank you. So these are some qualities of instructions, right? So they should be precise. If necessary, they should be repeated, because sometimes I asked you to close your eyes for 1 minute in the morning session. So that was not enough. Just close your eyes for a minute is not enough. Maybe. So I say even such a simple thing, no, a second time. So what are you going to do? You're going to close your eyes. How long? Till you think that 1 minute is over. And what are you going to do after that? So even despite that, there was a little, though I was talking to teachers, not students, there was a little confusion. Somebody said, yes, sir, I've finished. I asked you not to say anything, just open your eyes. So my instruction went wrong in the morning. So instructions can go wrong. So you must be extremely specific, clear, easy for your students to understand. If necessary, repeat them. You repeat them. You also ask one of your students to repeat them if necessary. And you make them easy to follow, short, simple, and if necessary, you can demonstrate them. Okay, close your eyes like this, raise your finger like this, hold your hand like this, and then do it like this, write down. So by using a little body language and by demonstrating them. So what are you going to do? You're going to open your page 2, you're going to open your book 2, page number 47. So you read this line, this paragraph. So by demonstrating also, instructions become clearer. Do you all have some scribbling pads with you, notebooks with you?
Yes, sir.
Very good. So
Yes,
please open them to a new page, a fresh page. Open your scribbling pad to a fresh page, and take your pen or pencil or whatever, Write on that. Can you all switch on your cameras for a second and show me your pen and paper? Just 1 second, and you can switch it off again. Just show me your scribbling pad and pen. Good, good. Yeah, a fresh page. Good, 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 good. Very good. Others? Maybe the others are not close by. Okay, so I'm going to do, I'm going to give you a small task. Yeah, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Anirudh. Thank you, Gopal. Right. So I'm going to give you a small task. So with the pen in your hand and the paper in your hand, you have to do this small exercise. What is this exercise? This exercise is an activity. You have to read all the instructions that you are going to see on the screen, and carefully you have to read them before beginning answering. And the time given to you is 2 minutes. So I'll not speak, I'll remain silent for 2 minutes. All that you need to do is read the instructions carefully, and after that, you need to answer the instructions. So your time starts now. I'm watching time. Your time starts now. I think it's time. You can stop doing that. Maybe most of you have understood the trick there. Can anybody tell if you went wrong? Can anybody tell me why did you go wrong?
We were supposed to just do the number one thing, and the rest we just had to ignore them.
Why did you go wrong?
Sir,
We
because we have started hesitantly and we doesn't read the all instruction.
Yeah.
So
So
it
because
was
we followed
all
step by
questions
step.
were attempted.
You followed step by step. What was my instruction in the beginning? My instruction was read all the instructions and follow them carefully before beginning answering. This not only I wrote on the screen, but I also explained to you. So I told you I'm going to give you 2 minutes time. Please read the instructions. After you read them, do them. This was what I told you also. I used the word before, I used the word after. I showed to you on the screen, I explained to you. Still, why did you go wrong?
Sir, because in the beginning you had asked us to show the pen and paper. So
Yeah, I wanted to be sure that you all do this. So,
So we
No,
failed
sir,
to
I think
read the
because
last
you gave us.
instruction. So
Sorry?
before reading the last instruction, we started writing, sir.
Yeah,
It
why?
was written on.
The
Yes.
question is why?
Sir, because there was a time limit, so we started with
Time was one constraint. So you wanted to finish early and then you wanted to be the first in the class. 2 minutes was plenty of time actually to read that. It was not a time game. It was not a, I mean, I was not testing your ability to do something in a very short time. That was not, I mean, though you felt like that, that was not the idea. Anyway, so let me tell you, let me explain it to you. Perhaps you have not understood the trick there. So I would like to tell you that all of you, every one of you is right, is correct. Whatever you did, you are correct. If there is one person who is wrong, that's a teacher. I was wrong. I did not give my instructions clearly. I did not take enough care to see that my students understood my instructions clearly. What should I have done? I should have said, okay, here are going to be a set of instructions. Please don't start answering them immediately. Please read them first. After you read all the instructions, then whatever you are expected to do, please do it. The word before is very important. I am telling you again. So please don't start working on them. Please wait till you read. After you read, you do them. Suppose I had taken this care. If I had made my instructions so very simple, none of you would have gone wrong. I could have even said, okay, what are you going to do first? Take a piece of paper and pen. What are you going to do next? So you're going to read the instructions. What will you do last? You're going to start answering. So when will you do that? After reading. So suppose I asked you some questions to check whether you have understood it right or wrong. None of you, not even one of you in the class, would have gone wrong. So because my instruction was bad, everybody went wrong. And now I blame you. I blame the students. Bloody fellows, you don't even know this. I told you. So I blame the students. It's very easy to blame the students when they've gone something wrong, but I don't try to understand why they've gone wrong. Was there something wrong with me? Was there something wrong with my instructions? Did I write the instruction on the board? Did I help them read it? Did I make it simple for them to follow? Did I make it easy to understand? Did I repeat it? Did I get it repeated by the students? If I took so much care, my instructions would not have gone wrong. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm not blaming you. I'm just trying to play. I played a trick on you. Sorry for that. So I played a trick on you to help you understand what exactly is relevant to us, what exactly is important there. So please keep that in mind, and if in future, whenever you give instructions, make them as simple as possible, as easy for your students to follow as possible, and as step by step as possible. First thing, second thing, third thing, next what will you do? Before that, what will you do? This kind of things. So these were the qualities of good instructions. No, precise, repeat if necessary, make them easy to follow, make them short, make them simple, and if necessary, demonstrate. If I had taken this care, you would not have gone wrong. Right. Okay. Any questions up to this point? Any comments on that activity?
Really interesting.
It's interesting, but any comment on that? As teachers, do we all make this kind of mistakes?
Yes, I do agree.
Yes,
As a
sir.
teacher, many of the time we do this.
Yeah, many of the time we think, oh, I gave my instructions very clearly. You did not understand.
Sir, and we assigned the blame very quickly to the students.
Exactly, Shanti Vipriya. Thank you very much for saying that. Yes, we blame the students, little realizing that we perhaps were responsible for that. Maybe not always. Sometimes we either over expect their ability or we underperform and throw the blame on somebody else. I told you some good teachers know what do. They practice their instructions. So if I say this, will my students understand? If I say this only once, will it be enough? Do I need to say it a second time? Have I framed my sentence right? If you're an English teacher, are my instructions proper? What kind of sentences are they? there are what are called, I think technically they're called imperative sentences. So have I put them in the imperative format? Do this, go to this step, open that, close this. Am I making some sentences so very simple like that? Right. Go on. Yeah. The next one is lots of questions in the class. This also you said when I conducted that poll, many of you said lots of questions in the class will make it much more better managed, much more productive. So how many questions do I ask in my class, and what kind of questions do I ask has a direct impact on the outcomes of the class. So what do? I ask lots of different kinds of questions. I don't have time to explain all of them. This is already almost 1 o'clock. We need to, I think we have about 18, 19 minutes. That's why let me not explain them, but I think most of you know that there are various kinds of questions. So in your class, don't just ask questions like, are you following me? Are you with me? This is a standard question that many teach. This is the most useless question actually. Who will say no? If you suppose you ask, are you all with me? Have you followed me? Am I clear? Do you understand? This question serves no purpose at all. If you think this is a question, this is the most useless question. Instead, you can ask, okay, how many points have you covered? What do you think is going to the next question? Or what do you think is the next item? Right? So what was the definition that I've explained to you? What are the 5 points that I told you? What was the 4th point? So if you ask questions like that automatically, I mean, they are much more impactful, much more effective. And again, as far as possible, ask open-ended questions. Open-ended questions are questions. Are there any English lecturers there? Are there any other teachers who know what are open-ended questions? Can anybody explain?
We have had a complete session on types of questions. So, like all of us should know.
Great. Can you please tell me what's an open-ended question?
So open-ended question which can have a further conversation with it, like which can have a connected question following.
And said that does not limit the answers of the students. They can answer as they are comfortable and as they have the creativity to do the answers.
Correct. So to put it very simply, open-ended questions have multiple correct answers. So there can be any number of correct answers, and that makes it an open-ended question. If I ask you, for instance, why are you attending this program? Each one of you will give me a different answer, right? Even if you say something wild, it's still your correct answer. If you say, for instance, oh, sir, I wanted to get away from my college, that headache, that nuisance. So I wanted to escape from that and I've come here. Still, it's a correct answer only because that's your answer. So when a question has multiple correct answers, that is an open-ended. So there are lots of us, because you've already done a session, let me not go into that again. Right. So do a lot of eliciting in your class. Instead of just giving the answer, instead of just putting it in the form of an answer. So, I mean, give them hints, give them tips so that they get it from the students as far as possible. This keeps the students awake. This keeps the students alert. This makes the class interactive, and this let the students know that, I mean, they are comfortable building further on what they already know. So do it. I'll leave that. So let your class have plenty of games, projects, and activities, whatever subject you are teaching. This is another management tool, classroom management tool. Your class must be extremely interactive if it has to be a successful class. Extremely student-centered if it has to be successful. Extremely involving and engaging and motivating if it has to be a rewarding class. A one-sided lecture, I don't know, I told you when I conducted that poll, some of you said lectures also are good. I think lectures are not very productive. Lectures, one, they go over our heads, and two, they cannot be easily retained, and they do not serve much of a purpose. If some of you have the habit of giving long lectures in your class, please stop them. Right? Well, do you give any projects? Can anybody please switch on your microphone and tell me a recent project that you gave to your students relating to your subject?
Sir, hello, sir.
Yeah, it's
Sir, I'm from political science background. So I recently asked my students to go to the local marketplace and to do a survey of the shopkeepers there and their social economic issues, how what they face and what is the scale of their business and etc. like that, and how they are affected by the new policies and etc. Just a small project, sir. Sir, they have done it really well, sir.
Thank you, Shanti Priya, for sharing that. That's great. But how did you do that? So, suppose, for instance, you had to give this wonderful project to your students. So, did you ask all the students to go to the same shop?
No, sir, there is a huge market, local market area.
Uh-huh.
So I have asked them I have asked them some to go to the sabji market and some of them to go to the brass metal market, etc. I asked them to divide them into groups to different shops. Yeah.
Wonderful. So that's how the teacher has a little planning to do. So it's not just asking them to do whatever they want, but suppose you give them specific instructions, you give them some questionnaire, you ask them to do something very specific. I want you to achieve this by the end of the week. By Saturday, you have to get this information. How will you get that? Maybe you can ask these questions. So, what are the possible outcomes? Maybe if you ask this question, for instance, what are the possible answers? So, what kind of answer do you accept? So, you give them some. So, you give them a lot of inputs. I mean, in case you want to make this a language productive class also, you can also give them some sentence structure. So you ask them like this. So what price are you selling it at? So what is the cost of this? How much do you get? So you give them some structure also. If you are an English teacher, or even if you're not an English teacher, and if you teach in the English medium, in the morning today, I saw the feedback given in Hindi. It was excellent. I don't understand much Hindi, but it was beautiful to listen to somebody who I was there 4 or 5 minutes ahead, and I listened to that. It was really good. So maybe whatever language you speak at your college, in that maybe you give them specific instructions, you give them very clear idea about the possible outcomes and how they gather that data, how they record that data, etc. So that makes a project proper. And then you must properly record that project after it's over and your college is going for some inspection or whatever. These records are going to give you a lot of weightage. Right. So do you play any games in your class? Any one of you, please tell me.
Sir, quizzes are a sort of games. Quizzes.
Yeah.
I used to take quiz in my classroom.
Great, wonderful, wonderful. Quizzes also are some kind of games, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they are competitions, rewards, benefits, gifts, etc. also can be there.
Yes, so quiz competition as well as debate we conduct.
Mm-hmm. But somebody who played a game as are there any language teachers here? Hindi, English, Telugu, whatever? I think language subjects have plenty of scope for games, and then you can build a lesson around a game, or a game can be built into a lesson. Anyway, you can try them. There are lots of games available, and in case you're not equipped with them, you can search on the web, and then you can find lots of games. Whatever subject you are teaching, that can be converted into games. And then today there is a lot of trend. There is a methodological trend to popularize the gamification concept. So gamification is not games, but I'll not go into that now. That's again a different lesson. So you can gamify your lessons. Okay. And lots of activities are possible. The pair work is an activity, the group work is an activity, the project also is an activity. Students sitting up and standing, and then sitting down and standing up also is an activity. Students going around the classroom and doing something is an activity. I think some physical activity is really essential when your classes tend to become monotonous. You can try them. Even if you ask them to stand up and sit down, I think that's good, somewhere in the middle, right? So you can use lots of technology is available in the market, and then maybe your classrooms are equipped with them. I told you already, instead of complaining about what's not there, identify what's available to you. There may be a blackboard, there may be a whiteboard, there may be an LCD projector. These days, lots of colleges have technology available, and there are good facilities, and it all depends upon your creative abilities. You can create your own slideshows. For instance, all these slideshows that I've created are my own. And the last slide I that showed you after each one of my lessons has the address where these slideshows are available to you. Have always presented right for over 10, 20 years. So I've created about 200, 300 slideshows. All of them are available to you in the open domain. I'll show that to you once again at the end of this class, right? So this is about technology. The last slide that I'd like to share with you is about managing yourself. Managing classroom, of course, depends upon managing yourself. Simply put, managing yourself is managing your things, managing your health, managing your presence, managing your energies, etc. So this also is a part of the classroom management, because I know quite a lot of teachers, they are always searching for things. They don't know where they have put the duster, where they have put this, where they put that. Even the classroom or in the staff room, they're always searching for something. I I pity this kind of attitude of teachers when they don't even organize their things. Sad. So organize your things. Then take care of your health, your food habits, your sleep habits, your energy levels. All these things are going to make a huge impact on your class, right? So I'll stop there. Maybe what I would like to tell you before I leave, I just would like to tell you to identify a few things that you, this is again some kind of a SWOT analysis. So you few things that you have scope to improve, identify them, some 3 or 4 things at least to begin with. So this is, for instance, my instructions are not great. I need to look at them. I need to improve the quality of my instructions. Tomorrow onwards, I'd like to give better instructions by practicing them, by writing them down before I go to the class, right? So I don't ask too many questions in my class, or my questions are not open-ended. That's why I'd like to look at it, and then I'd like to improve my ability to ask more questions. So like that, you ask yourself what are a few areas where you scope to improve, and this will take you where you want to go. Thank you so much. So this was what I was talking about, slideshare.net, Lion nagaRAJU presentations. If you go to this website, you'll find most of the slideshows that I've created. And for 2 reasons I have posted them there. One, they are all my own. I have not copyrighted them, but they are available. Second, I have not copied from somewhere and created them. They are I created them. And when like a book that I have written should be read by everybody. Like similarly, a slideshow that I created also must be available to everybody. That's what I thought, and that's why I started posting them to this website long ago, and I've been continuing doing that. So thank you very much. And we have another 5 to 10 minutes. You can please feel free to ask me any question relating to the topic that we've done, or you may also add to whatever I've said and add your personal experiences in this area.
Sir, I have a very personal question to you, sir. Sometimes, sir, there are students, I don't know exactly, like if I should say or not, they are disrespectful in the sense, sir, they're, to the extent they are disrespectful, they will use bad words or they will bad mouth when I am strict in exams. Suppose I will not allow them to cheat, they will go out and they will call names and a lot of things happen, sir. So how to deal with that? As a teacher, I get affected very emotionally. I get affected because I am trying to be I cannot allow students to cheat on their exam, right? So I do my duty, but later on when they will use some fake numbers also to threaten me. They will use bad words and something like that. So how to deal with that as a teacher, sir?
Shatipriya, this is not a part of the classroom management, but still I would like to answer your question.
No, sir, that's why I said this is a very personal question. I just wanted to, sir, ask you that, like how to deal with that as a teacher.
Yeah, I think maybe you can take a lot of cues from the video that you saw about that Sakshi, and the moment you begin loving your students, becoming a little more passionate, trying to understand them personally, talking to them individually, and trying to understand the background. See, what kind of a child it is. Who are the students' parents, what kind of agony, anguish, pain, suffering, poverty that the child is going through, what kind of emotional turmoil that the student is subjected to outside, what kind of social background he comes from, and why is he behaving like that. It needs a little effort. If you spend a little time outside your class, and if you take them into confidence, if you call them privately, personally, talk to them, perhaps some of these issues can be resolved. But there is no one single sure answer to your question. So it needs a lot of commitment to your passion. It also needs a lot of I don't know how old you are as a teacher. Maybe if you are very young, perhaps you will learn them with a little experience. If you've already been teaching for some time,
No, sir. So it's just been 1 year. So I'm 27 years old. So I just been 1 year, sir.
Most of you are young teachers, I think. So it comes with a little experience. It comes a little with the kind of attitude that it needs. I mean, in every profession, uh, we need a certain kind of an attitude, and teachers need a lot of love, affection, passion for the profession, and a lot of effort. Unless these are there, it's difficult. I know, because I also went through similar situations in my early career. Gradually, I mean, we developed. I don't think I've given you a very clear answer.
No, no, sir. It's fine, sir. Sir, with experience, I will know how to deal with it, sir. Thank you, sir. So thank you, sir. So I asked you because sometimes it takes a toll on my psychological and some mental health because of this. So that's why I asked you. Like,
it happens. See, do you remember the first day when Sakshi went home? How she struggled with those pillows, and then how
yes, sir.
she,
Yes, sir.
yeah. So maybe a similar situation. Before you have a strategy, once you have a strategy, and once you realize that, uh, once you become convinced that you can bring about a difference to yourself in your attitude and bring about a change in your students, and then if you start working on that, that becomes your reward. What did she do? She said, I did not do anything. I just gave them a space where nobody is judging them. See, if somebody is using bad words against you, I mean, it's not, I don't think you are responsible for that. I don't, you did anything bad to them to deserve that. See, it's that students brought up, it's students' attitude, it's students' unhappiness with something else. It's a student's company, the kind of company that he is in. I don't think even to 1% magnitude, you are responsible for that. Perhaps you have not been kind to him, you have not been unjust to him, you have treated that student exactly as any other student, but that student is in a different environment. He did not grow up like the others, right? So if you understand that that difference is responsible for this, and if you begin approaching it the right way, perhaps you can resolve it, I think.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Would you give us a few seconds, sir?
Yeah,
Uh,
please go ahead.
so the session was really interesting, informative, and so very inspiring. So it will not only help us in professional life, but also in our personal life, sir. So we all be benefited out of this. And may I now request Ms. Vidinta Najare to propose a vote of thanks to our eminent resource person, Ms. Vidinta.
Yes, thank you, Gopa ma'am, for giving me this opportunity. Sir, I extend my sincere gratitude to you. It was really an enriching class, sir, on classroom management and time management. And like Gopa ma'am has said, it will not just be helpful for our profession, but as well in our personal life. So thank you, sir, once again for sharing your time and wisdom, sir.
Thank you, Vidinta.
Thank you very much.
Can I leave now?